Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of the Apex E-Series Showdown here on the V-Speed Racing Network. I'm Eddie Smith, got Dakota Wilson in the booth with me tonight. Again, 2 weeks in a row, it must be my birthday because it's going to be a good one tonight. And we're jumping right in to some action early because we've got a special night here. Is this cutoff race to the round of 8. We're going to drop all the way down to 8 drivers, and looking forward to seeing that happen. So we're going to give you a little bit of interviews. We'll talk to some drivers, see these guys right around the cutoff, and see what they're feeling like tonight before this thing gets rolling. Dakota, how you doing tonight, bud?
Oh, I'm lovely, man. It's I wasn't going to miss this cutoff race for the world. You know, energy was high last week, and it wasn't even a cutoff race. So I'm sure tonight it's going to be electric throughout the field.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's take a look at the point standings while we're talking about that. Garrett Kinder atop the point standings. Tracy Passon's the only one locked in technically, but Garrett Kinder, you see, very well locked in. Less than 20 drivers here tonight. He's going to have no trouble. Now, speaking of Tracy Passon, you'll see the cut line there at 7 or at 8. Well, it's actually 7, right there where Willie Evernham is, because Tracy Passon's is outside in 12th position, and he is not locked, or he is locked in, excuse me, by virtue of the win a couple weeks ago. So he is locked in. So that battle is going to be for that 7th position that Willie Evernham currently holds, but is a 3-way tie between him, Chuck Feltz, and Dana Shepard. So that's going to be a big talking point tonight. And then you see Charles Stevens, Alan Nash, and even and maybe even Chris Bedwell, who I feel like is pretty much locked in, but they really can't afford to have a bad race, Dakota. So, and you see Daniel Holcroft only 1 point out of that 3-way tie, so it's pretty much a 4-way tie right at the cut line. Matt Rogers not that far behind, so it's definitely possible. But dadgummit, Dakota, if there ain't but one easy way to make sure you don't have to worry about that at all, and what is that?
Winning in, baby.
Come on. That's right. Get that dub, and you ain't got to worry about it at all. It's qualifying just getting ready to roll. We're going to actually pull a couple of these drivers in here during qualifying. Got 10 minutes of qualifying, which is way too much. And we'll get a couple of these drivers in here and talk to them and see what they're feeling like tonight as qualifying gets ready to get rolling. We'll jump in here. And we'll actually go do a little bit of looking at qualifying. So we'll catch somebody on the track. We'll talk to these drivers once they get out there on the track. Once they get done, we'll bring them in and talk to them. But we'll go start with our current points leader, Garrett Kinder. He's going to take his first out lap. Garrett Kinder, man, just one of the fastest drivers. Had a really good last little bit of this season, and it's really set himself to top the point standings. And yeah, just an incredible driver. And this track just seems like it's going to be something that he's going to enjoy. You know, what we'll see, I think, is we'll see guys running the bottom here, especially in qualifying, because you're pretty much wide open. And so we should see these guys wrap that bottom after they get a couple laps up top. You see him getting that momentum up. You really get the runs off the corner, especially coming off of turn 4 to the start-finish line. And you really want to get that speed up for that money lap, because these times are going to be close. First lap's going to be in the books, and he going to set down a 31.458, but I can expect to see right down to that yellow line. Going to expect this next lap to be quite a bit faster, as that bottom line is where you want to be, especially when you're wide open, shortest line around the track. And just trying to be smooth on the wheel. It's a lot like Talladega and Daytona, where you just don't want to turn the wheel and scrub as much speed off and drop down to the apron. Across the line, see where he ends up. He won. points leader goes straight to the top. Oh, and as soon as he does, Chris Bedwell is going to take that spot from him. As here we go, Kip Easley coming out on track now. He is sitting second in the point standings, so he is going to get out there and try to start up front, be up front. As as the tires start to wear here, you might see that bottom or that top line start to pick up, and track position is going to be a pretty big deal there, Dakota.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually talking to Daniel Holcroft before the race, and he said he thinks it's going to be hard to pass, and if you don't start in the top 10, you might be fighting a losing battle. But he said you might be able to get some pit strategy in there to try to jump some of these guys. But he said he thinks a top 10 starting spot, you should be in pretty good shape.
There you have it, straight from the man himself. Right now, I mean, first through seventh, less than a tenth, 0.0 seconds separate. And there goes Kip Easley right up to seventh position. So already pretty tight all the way down. I mean, a tenth and a half down to 10th place. Matt Rogers at the moment. But you see there to 8th place, less than a tenth. That's just how fast these guys are going wide open. All right, the 48 of James Kunkel on the track now. Got about 6.5 minutes after Kunkel puts his lap down. And second lap for Kip Easley puts himself up into the third position. So Easley not playing around. Across the line for his first lap. And, that's his second lap. So he will take over the third spot. So James Kunkel with a great starting spot. Nitro Motorsports looking pretty good there, up in the top 5. All right, let's talk to some drivers. Let's see what these guys are thinking, especially these guys that are around the cutoff line. And let's start off with Dana Shepard. Dana Shepard, this is Eddie and Dakota in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you guys. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Have you turned your lap yet?
I have not. I'm watching the temperatures.
Okay. Well, if you've got a few minutes, we'll keep it quick. You're sitting there right on the cutoff. They're in 8th place. 7th place is what you got to do to get in. But, man, it sure would be easier just to go ahead and win this dang thing. What do you say?
Well, that would be the best plan. I think it'd be a tall order, but I can always try.
Well, with the points being as tight as they are, what's your strategy going? You know that it's easy to have an accident or something and just be way out of it and fall out of it quickly. So what's the strategy? Win and you get in. It's the easiest way to make it in, but there are ways to get points. You got stage, the stage points for the top 5. What's your strategy? What's your plan going into this race to try to keep yourself above that cutoff?
I think just turn some consistent laps, be steady, stay online, and just not try to side draft people, not do anything too crazy, and really just make it for the last stretch. I'm really good on longer runs. I'm not a stage driver.
Well, there you have it. We'll get you out of here so you can do your qualifying run. Thanks for talking to us, Dana.
Hey, yeah, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the show.
Well, we will indeed. Well, Dakota, who you want to talk to, man? Who you want to talk to down there? We got down at the cutoff line. Give me somebody you want to talk to. I'll grab them. We'll chit chat with them.
Oh, let's see. Who do we got here? Let's go ahead and pull old Peg Leg up in here again.
All right, that sounds like a winner to me.
Hey, Peg Leg, this is Dakota and Eddie in the booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir, I do.
Yeah, I know. I talked to you a little bit earlier today, about you just wanting a good points night, but you look strong. You got a top 5 starting spot right now. So, what's your expectations for tonight? And maybe you can go up there and just steal this from the Ray Rogers and the McLeans and the Bedwells.
Oh wow, you threw those names out there. Oh my God, that's a series of big names. I don't know where I pulled that top five out. Like I told you all last week, I knew I struggled last week and expected it. So I got to, my season is tonight. I have to put out or I'm done. So obviously, I'm going to race clean. I never want to wreck anybody. I'm going to race clean, but I have to race hard and aggressive, cautiously aggressive. And I got to put it out there, fellas. So, and I am going to, obviously respectfully, but, yeah, I have to do it tonight or my season's done, point wise.
Yeah, well, if there's anybody that can get it done, I got faith in you. You're one of the cleanest guys in this league, and that goes a long way. So we'll be pulling for you, big guy.
I appreciate both of you, and tell Eddie I hope he's feeling better. I know he's been under the weather, and he's a good friend of mine, and I hope he's feeling better. So give my regards to Eddie, please.
Well, I'm right here, but all I gotta say, Chuck, is don't touch me.
I will not, sir. I will not. I will.
Get him out of here. Kick him out of the channel. I want to talk to Chris McLean, though. That's who I want to talk to if he hadn't run off yet. Chris, this Eddie and Dakota in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Man, well, as we were talking to Chuck, went right up to the top of the board and got that pole position and without any kind of jumps from Ray Rogers, Dana Shepard, Anthony Edgerton, or Alan Smith, you should have that pole award. And that's what you need, man. Sitting outside of the cutoff at the moment, you need that win tonight. What's your plan? What's your focus as we go into this race?
Well, we executed the first part, or so far. Ray hadn't qualified yet. He's normally pretty good at coming in there at the very end and stealing it. But missed last week, just unfortunate events. Wasn't able to be here, which, sucks because it's probably one of my favorite tracks, or one of my better tracks. It fits my driving style. So it really messed me up missing it. So kind of in a must win here. Not really. I guess not really a must win, but I really need to do good. So got in here today and did some practicing, and just knew I needed to put it on the pole and try to lead the most laps and every advantage we can get as far as in the points go. So we got one of them complete. Now we just need to get most laps led and then hopefully put it on the podium, top spot. If we don't do that, then maybe we just point our way in.
Well, you do have those stage points around lap 30. So is that something that you're thinking about as well, trying to make sure you maximize the points day to day like that?
Yeah, it really does help. We had been going back and forth in the past seasons about doing a stage break, and that's like IRP. Me and Tracy beat me first, second, but at the end of it, we was tied for points. Because I led the most laps on the stage, and he got the pole and led a lap, and I led a lap. So it ended up working out where we was tied for first. So it really gives you if you have a bad race or miss a race or whatever the case may be, it don't put you in a hole you try to dig out of as much in this round of 16. But once we get down to the round of 8, you ain't gonna be able to miss a race. You're gonna have to be on your A game.
Well, that's right. Well, all right, man. Well, they're starting to grid up now. Definitely appreciate you talking to us, and good luck tonight.
Thank you, buddy.
Well, there you have it. Well, we got a few drivers in Dakota. We did the best we could. We'll try to get some more throughout the race, especially if we have any cautions. But man, it is time to get the grid going. As we got to give out the Chuck Pegleg Pole Award, and that's going to go to Chris McLean, who does take over the top spot and holds on to it. As Ray Rogers doesn't even look like he's going to grid. I'm not real sure. Hopefully he does. I'm sure he will. Yeah, and there he is. He grids right there. So Ray Rogers just elected not to qualify. So, but all right. Well, let's jump right into the grid. Let's see where everybody's going to start here tonight. Starting on the front row, of course, is Chris McLean as we jump into the Low Cash Motorsports starting grid. Chris Bedwell going to start outside the front row. Starting row number 2 is Garrett Kinder and Chuck Pegleg Phelps. Starting 5th is James Kunkel. Starting 6th, Skip Easley. Starting 7th, Daniel Holcroft. Starting 8th is Alan Nash. Starting 9th, Charles Stevens Jr. Starting 10th is Tracy Passons.
It's third and rolling off 11th place is Dana Shepard with Stephen Ayers Jr. right beside him in 12th. Mike Presley, that's an unknown. We was wondering, where he's been. He will roll off 13th alongside of Matt Rogers. Willie Evernham was the last one to take time. Will roll off in 15th, and the field will round out with Ray Rogers, Alan Smith, and Anthony Edrington.
Well, there you have it, your Low Cash Motorsports starting grid as we're already getting ready to take the green flag. Want to thank all of our sponsors, especially Apex Sim Racing Gear, apexsimracing.com. Go check them out. But, boy, this is going to be a statement race for a lot of folks, but we're getting ready to get this thing rolling here as the pace truck going to pull off the track. And here goes the field. Chris McClain going to lead us down, try to get, he said, lead every single lap, get that stage break, and get as many points as possible. We're under green here. Oh, we've already got a crash. Oh, big crash back here in the back. Oh, multiple playoff drivers. Tracy Passons involved. Chuck Phelps involved as well. And Kip Easley, I believe, was the other driver involved. So playoff drivers early on lap 1. Already big trouble. And that is not what you want to see if you're a playoff driver, if you're Chuck Phelps, who, man, is right there on the bubble. And here already in trouble there, Dakota.
Yeah, sure. That's something you don't want to see on the first lap of the race, you know, especially being a playoff driver. So, if I'm not mistaken, these guys got one fast repair, right?
Yeah, they do have the one fast repair. And
yeah, so that's going to come in big. You know, guys like Chuck Pegley, they'll have to go ahead and use that fast repair, and then, you know, just kind of take it easy the rest of the race, because you've got to make it to the end of this thing if you want to advance.
Yeah, let's take a look at the replay here on Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind. And you see here it's Charles Stevens Jr., Kip Easley on the outside, and Chuck Phelps going to be right there in the middle as they go down to the corner. Man, I don't know. I don't know if Chuck just wasn't ready for that 3 wide, but you see this kind of came up the track a little bit, and Kip Easley was there. Though not really sure. Maybe we'll go back and see exactly from Chuck's point of view. You can see he's a little bit loose there coming through turn 1 and 2 on those new tires, and comes down the track and trying to defend a little bit. And oh no, it looks like Kip actually comes down on entry. So yeah, it looks like a little bit of Kip Easley's fault there, but just kind of a racing deal. I mean, guys almost 3 wide, Chuck trying to give a little bit of room, and I think maybe Kip thought he would go down a little bit. You know, that happens all the time. I don't think any of that was intentional, Dakota, but just guys battling hard, and it's playoff racing. I mean, we're not waiting around, not playing around, are we?
No, especially, you know, when there are playoff points up for grabs, you know, stage win points, you know, you want to really maximize every single point that you can get, and, you know, unfortunately that'll be the side effect of some of this hard-nosed racing.
You're absolutely right. And I'm going to do the best I can to call the race for y'all tonight, but Dakota may be taking over a little bit more going forward, as I don't know how long my voice is going to hold on. It's already starting to give out, but I'm going to do the best I can. And that's why Dakota is here. He is he's the man. He can take over if need be. I definitely appreciate you being here tonight, Dakota. Lights going off on the pace car. If you're a Chuck Pegleg Phelps fan, you see him there on pit road. Very, very disappointing. He does have that fast repair, but I don't know what happened. I think he had to take a tow, which is why he is currently just sitting on pit road. But he is going to be a couple laps down, which very, very disappointing. But not going to be impossible. He's the first truck 2 laps down other than Tracy Passing, so he'll be able to make that up. You're going to probably have a couple more of those cautions, and definitely going to have one for the stage break at lap 30. Getting ready to go back green here, though. Chris McLean going to take over the top side here as he gets a great jump. 13 going to really fall back here to the 95 truck as James Kunkel on the outside trying to kind of pinch down a little bit, get a run, make that top side work, but that bottom just going to be too strong early as they're pretty much wide open. But as the tires start to wear, you'll start to see guys migrate towards the top, and then we're talking about something being really tough to pass. As you see the 95 of Bedwell in 3 and 4 goes to the outside of the 13. He is trying to make a move early here. On board with Daniel Holcroft on that outside. A lot of similarities early on as the tires are new to Talladega or Daytona, where you're really using the runs. You've got a pretty big draft. You're almost wide open. But it doesn't take long, probably about 7 or 8 laps before you really start to breathe the throttle. If you're smart, you're already breathing it just a little bit, especially on the bottom. Help save that right front. You see Holcroft deciding not to take that run and pass, but to push that 13 and try to stay in line. But somebody who is not waiting around, and that is the 95 of Bedwell. He was your points leader last week, or a couple weeks ago, and is trying to claw his way back up to the top spot, but he is still in the playoff race and hunt for sure.
Yeah, and in my pre-race talk with Holcroft, he actually said that he put in a lot of laps here in practice sessions to, he's on the outside looking in right now, so he was really putting all his eggs into, practicing a lot and getting that experience to where you need to migrate on the track as the run progresses. And so far, it's paying pretty big dividends right now as he's actually making the pass on Garrett Kinder.
Yeah, we're starting to see that high side pick up the speed. Holcroft has been fast. He just seems inconsistently fast. There will be times where he'll run in 17th position all race, and then there are sometimes he'll get up front and be, contending for the win. Really good pit strategy. Always seems to find his way up front due to that. But right now he is showing the speed, and like you said, the practice seems to be paying off as him and Kunkel working together right now, trying to find their way around Bedwell and McLean. McLean not going to be easy to pass, trying to hold off Bedwell for the next 20 laps, but that stage win is going to be all too important.
Yeah, for sure. And then you got James Kunkel. He's not a playoff driver, and he's up here mixing it up with these guys. So he's got it in the back of his mind that he wants to race these boys hard, but you don't want to race them too hard to put them in a bad situation when he's not going for points. He's just trucking chasing.
Yeah, wow, what a slider that McLean put on Bedwell there. He kind of got in a bad spot where that bottom line just not working like it needed to in 1 and 2, and had to put a dirty slider on the 95, but the 95 gets a nice run and able to do the same thing back and cleared him without much issue. McLean's going to have a run back here, but I think going down to the bottom, it's going to be sort of dangerous at this point because you're going to end up, you see Kunkel go right down there to the bottom, but I think the bottom is going to be tough right here. You find yourself in a situation where you might end up losing 5 spots if you don't complete the pass.
And for all you Peg Leg Fest and Tracy Passons fans, they have made it back out on the track, and I know Tracy's locked in, so that wreck was bad, but he's got that ace in his pocket. He's got that win, so no harm, no foul, per se.
Yeah. That's right. So Tracy didn't even show up last week. That's how confident he was after that win. He just said, I'm not even going to show up. He took the night off. Man, look at this battle for second place. Kunkel's not playing around. He is going up there. And McLean early, starting to fall back a little bit. know, I didn't really see him get up there and be too aggressive on the tire, so I'm a little surprised to see that. But Uncle making me look bad, talking about not being able to run the bottom. He's been able to run the bottom pretty damn good here.
Yeah, Kunkel, he'll fool you a time or two.
It's got to be that Valvoline oil, man. Let me tell you. You know Valvoline was in the very first race car, Dakota?
I believe it.
Any Dale Jr. download listeners will remember that. They had a bunch of Valvoline ads back in the day. And yeah, very first race car had Valvoline in it. It's been around since the 1800s, apparently. I don't know. That's old oil. I wouldn't put that in my car, to be honest. That's too old. Bedwell showing strength early, pulling away. Got a nice gap, but now he's got one lane, kind of single file. That draft should help keep these guys together. We'll start to see some separation probably after 30 laps or so, so we probably won't see that too much. We are seeing a little bit. First through 10th separated by about 4 seconds. You've got this nice little group here. First through 6 is Daniel Holcroft getting passed by Garrett Kinder. And then it goes back to Dana Shepard right behind them, and then Alan Nash is about 2 seconds behind Stephen Ayers. So starting to separate a little bit. We're almost 3 wide here. Carl Stevens almost made it 3 wide there. Decided he's running that top side, and he ain't moving from it. And now, Dakota, you know any dangers of running the top side too much, too early?
You always run that risk of getting up into the wall, and with any simulation, you don't know how that wall's going to react. It might stick you into the wall and you'll come to a dead stop, or it might just shoot you straight across the track into traffic. Oh, as we see Charles getting loose there.
Yeah, these iRacing sticky walls. Oh, he's going to try a slider there on Holcroft. Boy, that is close. We see that a lot in actual NASCAR, just how much you have to really force the issue these days for that track position. This seems to be very similar. Guys are doing really aggressive moves to hold, to make these passes and complete them. And that's so different. You see Charles takes that spot and starts to pull away a little bit. Speaking of pull away, though, Chris Bedwell, he is your third place in points, and he is starting to pull away from Kunkel here. He's now back under fire from Chris McLean. As we got about 10 laps in this stage. Talk a little bit about what you can expect tonight as we're watching this racing. Big setup, 120 laps, of course. Stage break, lap 30. We've already talked about that. 4 sets of tires. That'd be something to think about as we get through this race. But so far, so good. After that caution on lap 1, we have been green the rest of the way, so hopefully we see it green to the stage. Is now the 5 looking down to the inside of Kunkel. Kunkel got up there, thought he was going to get up there and battle with Bedwell, then just immediately started to fall back quickly as here comes Garrett Kinder roaring back up through the field. And McLean goes around for second place, so, Dakota, the tires definitely going to be an issue. We're starting to see that a little bit here.
Yeah, for sure. That's another risk you run of running the high side. You're taking the longest way around the track, and then you got all that momentum though. So it's really a double-edged sword. But you're gonna see these guys skate around to really try to save as much tire as they can. You might see them run up high one lap, and they'll scoot down a half a lane or a lane, and then eventually work their way back to the bottom. Setting themselves up towards the end there.
Yeah, so Kunkel going to fall back to the 4th position. Now Charles Stevens, one of the biggest movers of the race, is right behind him looking to make a pass. And Dana Shepard, another big mover, right behind him. So got some guys slowly making themselves up to the front, making their way up to the front, excuse me. Now back here, we got a battle between Willie Evernham, Matt Rogers, Steve Ayers Jr. Been seeing it in the distance. Thought I would highlight it since we've been kind of talking about the front before the stage break. But Stephen Ayers and Matt Rogers trying to move themselves. A couple guys that could use some points. Matt Rogers, one of them.
I want to point out I was actually looking at the live chat on YouTube. Apparently, it is Dana Shepherd's birthday today.
Well, how about that? Well, happy birthday to Dana Shepherd, birthday boy in that 43 truck, currently running in the 6th position and got a side-by-side battle right in front of him. So he is probably chomping at the bit to get up there and try to get this top 5 and get those points. Because right now, Dana Shepherd on that cut-off line, tied with Chuck Phelps for 6th. We're already talking about documenting Chuck Phelps' issues. He is currently 16th, 2 laps down. Another driver that has had some connection issues we haven't been able to highlight just yet is Alan Smith, who is back in 18th position, 3 laps down after having some connection problems. So he is currently 11th. Already a couple guys right there who needed a good night, starting off on a bad foot. And so it's going to be tough for those fellas. But you got to stay with it. We're on board with Dana Shepherd's birthday boy right now. You see he's starting 11th, running in 6th. You're seeing him having to lift a little bit. And that tape on that wheel going pretty far over there to the left, putting a lot of wheel into it now. As the tires are definitely starting to wear and the sun's going down here in Kansas. Right up front, though, still got battling going on. Charles Stevens and Garrett Kinder. Charles Stevens continues to push forward, and he's another driver. He is he's above the cut line. Oh my goodness! The 2 of Daniel Holcroft down low, gets a little bit loose off the corner, and man, what a nice save by him as he almost loses it.
Yeah, I thought I was watching Garrett Kinder there for a minute. You know, you always talk about how Garrett likes to yaw that thing out at least once in the race. I was watching him in practice. I think he yawed that thing out probably 40 or 50 times, just having a good old time.
Yeah, it seems like he practices it. He gets out there and just says, all right, let's see if I can drift this whole corner if I need to. Garrett will get out there and do it. But, man, I'm really impressed with Charles Stevens. He is currently the fastest truck on the track. He ain't playing around. I'm telling you right now, Charles Stevens looks to be somebody we need to be paying attention to for maybe trying to win this race. So Charles doing a fantastic job as he is trying to hunt down his affiliate team member, Chris McLean, who has worked himself back into the 2nd position. You see Chris Bedwell up there. He is gone. Currently about a second ahead of McLean. 1.3 seconds ahead of Charles Stevens. So as we come around, we should take the stage break here, and Chris Bedwell should take that as yellow does come out. So Chris Bedwell going to be your stage 1 winner. So congratulations to him as he gets those ever important bonus points along with Chris McLean, Charles Stevens, James Kunkel, and Garrett Kinder in the 5th position. So let's talk to him. I want to bring Bedwell up here and talk to him, see what he thought about that. We got Chris in the booth with us. Chris, it's Eddie and Dakota. You got a copy?
Yeah, got a copy.
Well, man, congratulations. What a great first stage. You're able to move yourself up to the top spot and really started to pull away there. How important was it to get that clean air, especially before the tires start to wear out?
Very. I mean, you had to – clean air is very important, and then you want that position so that you can do a little aero blocking for the guys behind you. But, yeah, it's just wanted to get out front as soon as I could. I knew I had pretty good speed running the high line, so I just figured step with that and go and see what happens.
All right, we're going to let you pit. Man, good luck.
Thanks, sir.
Stage 1 winner, Chris Bedwell. as everybody going to come down pit road. Can't imagine, Dakota, anybody would want to stay out. I mean, there's 4 sets of tires, so this is right on the money for the time you'd want to use it. But think anybody might stay out and maybe try to save a set?
Yeah, I think all the lead lap cars had come down. I think I seen Peg Leg and Tracy and Alan Smith. I think they stayed out to get a lap back. So a little bit of strategy, them trying to work their way back on a lead lap, try to get back into the mix of things.
Well, pit road wide open. 4 tires and fuel will be the name of the game, but that's only going to leave you 2 sets of tires left if you take them. Based on the pit stop time to everybody taking tires, which I think would just be a mistake here on this first stage if you didn't take tires, just because if it goes all the way to a fuel run, you'd be in trouble. So I think that's got to be the call there. But we should have 1 green flag pit stop, I would imagine. So that leaves you 1 extra set if we do have a green-white checkered or a late race caution. So, you got 2 sets of tires on lap 32 of 120 there, Dakota. What's your mindset? What are you thinking about that having those 2 sets left? You got to make a green flag pit stop. Does that mean you're going to run long? You're going to pit short? What's your thoughts on that?
That's a loaded question. If you're running up front, you really want to run this thing as long as you can. But if you're back, 6th, 7th, 8th place, you might try to cut it in half and try to jump on the guys that's going to stay out. And we've seen Chris McLean actually win the race off of pit road right there. That was the advantage of having that number 1 pit stall. He got a pretty good motor off and beat Bedwell by a little bit.
Well, and that's a great point, and I apologize that I wasn't even paying attention to that, was just running my mouth. But yeah, you're right. McLean wins the battle off pit road, so that will give him the advantage. He'll be able to choose the lane here at Apex. The leader can choose whatever lane he wants to use, so he can pick the top, bottom. So that gives him a lot of big advantage. However, we saw him kind of fire off pretty good there early on, but Bedwell just came out of nowhere and was able to take the lead pretty quickly. But I did see Bedwell jump up to the outside to a lot of folks. So I wonder if he kind of perked everybody's ears up to that of, hey, I maybe don't need to let Bedwell get to my right rear quarter on the straightaways, because he made a lot of his passes like that.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing, running 2nd and 3rd, 4th, and on back, you can kind of see where the guys in front of you are running and, take a page out of their playbook and, you can really learn a lot from the guys that you run around.
Well, we're getting doubled up here. Chuck was able to get that lucky dog and able to get down from 2 laps to 1 lap down. So 1 more caution, Chuck, assuming he's not the caution, he can get back on lead lap. And I know he so desperately wants that to happen. So keep an eye on that. Tracy Passes now 2 laps down, but he is locked in, so not a big deal for him. Alan Smith, though, still trapped 3 laps down. He's going to need a lot of help to get back in this thing. Just unfortunate. That's just, you have issues sort of like mechanical failures in real life. You have internet issues, equipment failures that cause you to lose championships. All kinds of things can happen here on iRacing. And that's what makes it exciting. But into the Geico restart zone we go. McLean has control of the restart. Going to get a good jump there. Going to bring Kunkel with him on the outside as McLean going to probably drop down right in front of Bedwell, get that good arc, get the speed down the hill into 1 and 2. Try to carry that speed off the corner. They're 2x2 back here towards Garrett Kinder, James Kunkel for this 4th position, and Charles Stevens there right in front of those drivers. Like I said, having a fantastic race.
Yeah, it actually looked like the inside line kind of bunched up there on that restart and allowed McLean to really jump out front. But we see Bedwell fighting back now.
Yeah, I wonder if just getting so far out front didn't allow the 95 to get a run there. As Louis Charles Stevens slides up the track. I don't know if he got a piece of that apron or what, but yeah, Bedwell got a massive run and was able to clear McLean without much issue at all. So, because now Charles Stevens is going, something happened to McLean. He must have had to lift or something because he is off the pace, and Bedwell's riding off into the sunset again, and Charles Stevens now battling his affiliate teammate for second place. And it's a jungle back here from second on back.
Yeah, you know, Bedwell's looking at his rearview mirror. He's enjoying every minute of that because, you know, the more them guys, you know, jumble it up back there, it's going to allow him to just creep further and further away.
Yeah, it's so frustrating racing online with competitors, especially when it comes to draft tracks, because you're so reliant on your fellow competitors to do certain things. So, like right here, we're 3 wide. Kunkel's going to give a little shot to Dana Shepard, move him up the track. And Charles Stevens is well up the track, too, as the 13 is pushing the 48. So I don't know if guys are just not happy with each other or what's going on, but there's a lot of pushing and shoving. And, oh, what's going on with McLean?
It looks like he's shooting in pit road.
Chris McLean coming down pit road, unscheduled pit stop for sure. And I have no idea what's going on. I don't see a black flag, but we'll pay attention to it. I have no idea what's going on here. As he comes down pit road, we'll see if we can figure out what's going on. But he comes down. Now, he did win the battle off pit road. I don't know if that's something. As we're watching him, I know there's battling going on the track, but he spends about 12 seconds on pit road, so I'm not really sure what happened there, unless he just didn't have his fuel checked or something, which is definitely possible. But big problem there as he goes a lap down in 16th there for Chris McLean.
Yeah, we seen it there last week too. You know, there was some problems on pit road for a couple of guys. So, you know, like you said there, his fuel might not have been checked, and, you know, I didn't see his truck go up on the ground. So, you know, he had to have got tires that last pit stop. So, you know, it might have just been a fueling problem.
Wow, just unbelievable. Can't believe it. Just I mean, it's so tough. Going back and checking the replay, he definitely took 4 tires. And, I mean, the whole pit stop, so it's got to have been fuel. It has to have been. Wow, that's big development there. I mean, it happens. I don't know why you would have fuel unchecked in the first place, but I think a lot of folks do that just so they don't, accidentally use fast repairs, different type of things. So I'm not sure. Unless he had some damage, that's something I hadn't considered. He may have gotten to the wall, we just didn't see it. But if he had some damage, but he didn't use a fast repair, so I don't know. I mean, we could go ask him, but I don't know if I want to right now. Right now, this battle, though, we'll pay attention to this, I guess, is Garrett Kinder and James Kunkel side by side with Dana Shepard. Birthday boy is up front, battling for the podium position. Dana Shepard going to go down to the inside and try to make a move here for second place. Down to the inside of 13 of Garrett Kinder. Can he make it stick, or is that high side already coming back in? But there they are side by side here on lap 44. We got a long way to go, but these guys are racing like their life depends on it. But I think it's just that shuffling before the top side becomes too dominant that you got to take the positions when you can. Dan Shepard going to slide up behind Garrett Kinder. Because not long from now, that top side will be dominant, and that's where you'll want to be. Skip Easley in that number 8 truck. He is made his way back up towards the front. Started up in the 4th position. Had that contact early. And has worked himself back up here. But without that fast repair, we talked about using that fast repair early, Dakota. You got to be careful. You only get one of them if you use it. You got to be careful. The way these guys are driving up here, they're driving like they still have fast repairs.
Yeah, it looks like good old Ray Rogers is slowly creeping his way up. He's up, 8 positions from where he started. He's slowly, adding his way into the mix here. So these guys are going to have to be mindful because he'll probably just start picking them off. He wants to lead.
Yeah, looks like right now Dana Shepard going to set himself apart in that 2nd position. And, man, it's really cool to see these guys amp up the intensity as the playoffs start to heat up. And Dana driving himself up 9 positions. So right now he is the biggest mover of the race in that 43. I know he's got a big group of cheerleaders in chat. So y'all ought to be hollering for your boy right now because he is putting on a show. Currently 1.4 seconds back from Bedwell. Bedwell seems to be in another zip code at the moment. But we'll see if somebody can find some speed, save a little bit of tire, and maybe run him down. But, man, look at the battles we got going on. We talked about Ray Rogers. And he was back here. Charles Stevens, I thought somebody was going to be up there doing what Dana Shepard is. But right now, Charles is kind of falling back a little bit in the field position after that restart. Dana Shepard is working that top side. Let's go on board with Dana, see what it looks like to run the top side around this track. Put the left rear under the seam on entry, that right rear up on that progressive banking. Keep that truck locked into place and not go up into the wall. Same thing in 3 and 4. A little bit trickier in 3 and 4. It's not as easy to do, but he does a really good job. You almost kind of enter in a little bit, let it wash up in the middle of 3 and 4, and then keep that gas on 1 and 2. You can just kind of lean right on that right rear. And it's just a ton of fun. That's why Kansas is one of my favorite tracks to drive. Maybe not to race. It can be frustrating to race, but to drive who's out there having a good time. Kansas is one of them. You see him in Bedwell running that same line. So last lap Bedwell just a little bit faster than Dana. Just a little bit slower, but that time Bedwell had some issues, and Dana Shepard actually gained about 3/10 there on that last lap. So dangers of running too close to the wall, and Dakota, you know about that iRacing damage model. Some of the silliest amounts of damage can cause some of the worst aero defects on the truck.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you barely scrape wall, you never know. It might rip a fender plumb off a thing, and, you certainly don't want that. You want to keep the body, intact, so you can, have that aero advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's way too important here with it being dang near wide open. Just constant trying to keep the momentum up. Any kind of aero damage would be detrimental. Dana Shepard a little bit faster, but man, Garrett Kinder must be saving some tires like a champ because he is making that bottom work, especially in 3 and 4. Dana Shepard really hold him off, but it looks like the 13 is really, really fast right now. So he must be saving a little bit in that 13 machine as Dana keeps it wound up there in 1 and 2. Seems like the top in 1 and 2 is where you want to be. You can make the bottom in 3 and 4 work, but you can see how difficult it is to pass. 13 is trying to get around him, but Dana's just doing such a good job. They're holding him off. they're catching Bedwell. Bedwell now less than a second away from these drivers. So Dana Shepard leading this group back to the promised land as he is helping them run down Chris Bedwell. You know, I think if I'm Garrett Kinder, I might be looking at that. Oh, no, and now Dana Shepard into the wall. And that's an easy way to make a pass, as he's going to get passed by multiple drivers. And that's that danger you talked about, Dakota, of running up the wall, is that's exactly what can happen.
Yeah, for sure. Looks, just by looking at it, the truck don't look too bad. There's definitely some paint missing off that beautiful Silverado there, but we'll see if he can bounce back here.
Yeah, such a bummer. As now he falls back to the 6th position. Still plenty of time. It's the risk reward. It's the, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to put yourself in danger, in harm's way to make speed? That's I love that type of stuff. You see Ray Rogers doing it right now as, man, Garrett Kinder starting to run down Bedwell. I wonder if he didn't get in the wall and has some damage himself, but the 13 is now within 0.2 of a second from your leader. But yeah, I mean, I love that about this track where you have to it's kind of like Darlington, right, Dakota, where you really have to commit. If you don't commit, you're going to be slow. And it seems to be the case here, where you got to commit to that top line right against the cushion. But it just puts you in a perilous position if you just misstep for one turn.
Yeah, for sure. And, throttle input is such a big thing, too. If you breathe your throttle and then roll back on it, you're going to spin them rear tires, and that's going to bring your back end around. You're going to hit the wall, you're going to spin out. So it's really like a high horsepower ballet, if you will.
Right up front, we want to keep on that 4 or 5 car battle, but we thought Bedwell might pull away here, but after 27 laps, Garrett Kinder has saved a good amount of tire and put pressure on this 95 machine. So this is point leader and 3rd in the points, running 1-2. And Garrett Kinder, man, he is looking really, really strong, and hey, don't look. But who is this in 3rd? Dang old Ray Rogers starting to run these guys down as well. He is less than a second away from the top 2 as they're getting ready to battle. And that's got to be on your mind if you're Garrett Kinder. You're like, okay, when am I going to make this pass? Because if I get up there and I get side by side, then Ray Rogers is going to be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think Ray was listening to us last week. He was joking around about him maybe starting in the pits. He was like, you know what? I'll just start in the back. I'll be at the front end of this thing. So maybe next week, if Ray ends up winning this thing, maybe we'll have to let him join late and start a couple laps down.
Yeah, I mean, he's won 3 of the last 4 races. So he's going for 4 out of the last 5. Is now Garrett Kinder going to go down the inside? Time to make his move as he can see that 51 coming along with everybody else. Like I said, Bedwell looked unbeatable in that first run, but now things have changed. Maybe people have learned, changed the lines, changed up how they're driving, and he doesn't look so unbeatable. Now, right now, he's protecting the top, and you can see how difficult it is to pass. But somebody who saved enough tire who can run that bottom may be able to make this move. I don't think the 13 can do it, but I'll be damned if he ain't trying. He almost was able to pull that slider off there.
Yeah, and that's only going to pull Ray Rogers that much closer to him the more that they stay side by side.
Yeah. Oh, and Bedwell going to drive down on the door to the 13. Really surprised to see that, but you see why the 13 not able to turn that truck up off the bottom with that little room. And so now they are racing side by side. The 13 puts the nose right on the left rear quarter, not going to be able to clear him here. Oh, they're going to make a little bit of contact maybe. But still side by side. Here comes Ray Rogers with a big old run. Uh-oh. We may have some guys going down pit road. Oh, Stephen Ayers So pit road's starting to get wide open. Steve Ayers actually going through the grass there. He may get a penalty for that, but still side by side for the lead. Ray Rogers going to have a massive run, but here comes Garrett Kinder. Oh, and okay, well, that's why. Garrett Kinder makes the pass, and as soon as he does, Chris Bedwell says, okay, I'm coming to pit road. So he comes down to take 4 tires. So pit road wide open. Would expect guys to be coming down almost immediately because they are about a second, almost 2 seconds off their pace on fresh tires. .13 giving a little wave out the window, lets us know he's coming. Charles Stevens going to come along with him. Ray Rogers going to stay out. Is he going to make it down to pit speed? We're real close for that 13 machine, but I do think he made it. You see Dana Shepard peeling out right there as they come down pit road. So how's this going to cycle out? Expecting to see Ray Rogers come in this time, and he does. So the 51 machine gonna get down to that 50-mile-an-hour pit speed limit, and Willie Evernham gonna take over the lead. Get that bonus point for leading a lap. That's pretty big for him. He's right on the cutoff line as well, tied there. So this will be a big point for him. So he's gonna stay out a little bit. Gonna lose a little bit of tire advantage, but lead that lap. Looks like he's coming in pit road right now. So who is going to cycle out to the lead as Ray is now pulling out of his pit stall right now. And it looks like Bedwell is going to cycle just that one extra lap, and look at the difference that he has over Garrett Kinder. See that first truck that's at the top of the track, that is Garrett Kinder. Skip Easley, James Kunkel, who pitted a lap before Kinder. Right behind him is Chuck Pegleg coming down pit road. So these guys really want to work together here and try to run down that 95 machine. Is Kip willing to do that? Looks like Kip trying a little bit of okey doke there. Maybe not sure if he wanted to make a move or not. Just crazy how big a difference those tires will make. Chris Bedwell spent 41.4 seconds on pit lane. Garrett Kinder spent 40.9 seconds on pit lane. So about a half a second faster Garrett Kinder was on and off pit lane. And he now is 2.3 seconds back from Chris Bedwell. Just that one extra lap that he did. So that was a big moment there for Bedwell. Being the leader gives you that opportunity to make those calls, come down early, and being that here the first couple laps you're wide open, those fresh tire speeds are just too hard to turn down.
Yeah, for sure. Bedwell being in the lead with a pretty comfortable lead. He can kind of lay back a little bit and conserve just a little bit of tire in case this thing runs out green. You got Kinder, Easley, and Kunkel battling pretty hard for second, third, and fourth there. So, but they're going to be using their stuff up more than Bedwell is. He's just out front driving Miss Daisy right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he got they ran him down at the end of that run, so it's definitely got to be on his mind. If you need to adjust, we don't have setup changes we can make here to fix setup lead there, Dakota. I mean, what do? We let off a little bit earlier. We don't go full throttle, the first, maybe a couple laps, but after that start lifting. I mean, what are we doing, do you think, to try to manage that? If we know, hey, I was a little bit too hard on the right front last run, what can I do this run to change it up, considering I don't have any kind of setup change?
Yeah, it solely depends on the person in the seat. Really gauging what line you want to take, and how hard you can push that line, and you don't want to push it too hard, and like you said, really heat up them tires, because once they get hot, it's game over at that point.
Those listening, you can go down, when these guys go down to pit road, they do get to see temperature readings and wear readings. And in an oval car, typically, if you had to choose, when you don't always get to choose based on the setup, but if you had to choose, you kind of want your right front wear percentage and your right rear wear percentage to be fairly even. That means a pretty balanced truck or car. Means you're not really tight, you're not really too loose, you're right kind of balanced. Now, very rarely does that happen, especially on iRacing big setup. They normally build tight just to allow for stability. Tight is always a more stable setup, but it can also be the most detrimental, is it really burns that right front up, and you just don't have the security of the steering wheel anymore. So these guys will go down pit road and they can look and see, maybe I'm turning the wheel too much. Maybe I need to lift a little bit earlier. I started lifting around lap 6 or 7. Now I'm going to start lifting around lap 3 or 4 just to give that right front a little bit more life and try to even up those percentages the best I can. And that will help prolong the life of those tires. And, that's really all you can do. So those guys can go out there, they can look at that on these pit stops and make adjustments, and we'll see by the end of this run. I mean, we'll definitely see if Bedwell was able to make those type of adjustments. Garrett definitely had the faster truck along with Ray Rogers there at the end, so Bedwell learned something, or maybe Garrett Kinder figured a little bit something out and can apply it here. So we'll see how it all plays out. It definitely seems like everybody here, from Garrett Kinder on back to Charles Stevens, is playing nice, trying to work together, use that draft, and run down that 95 machine. But right now, they are running lap times pretty equal. Bedwell runs at 31.876, and Garrett Kinder 31.863. So just a tad bit faster, but not as much as you would think in a draft situation. So it definitely seems like guys are doing a lot of tire saving by lifting, because the draft doesn't seem to be a huge advantage. Watch Ray Rogers go down to the inside of Kunkel.
Like Charles Stevens had a really good run right there on Kunkel. He crossed him up a little bit.
Drives down in the corner, and he is going to clear Kunkel. So Kunkel, after opening the door for Ray Rogers there, kind of lost a little momentum and fell back to the back of his pack. Ray's tire saving, you can see, is starting to kick in. He knows it. He knows he's saving a little bit more than these guys right in front of him. And the time is now. We're about 15 laps into this, and he pitted a couple laps after these guys. So a track like this where you're all wide open, iRacing's tire model goes through cliffs. You start 5 to 10 laps on a certain grip level, and then it'll hit a certain wear level and really drop off in grip. And the drivers that Ray's passing right now have hit that plateau before he did. And so he's still able to kind of push those lap times now. Another track where you lift from the very beginning. Not as pronounced, but track where you're wide open for 5 or 6 laps, and then you really have to lift like Kansas here in the trucks. Can make a big difference just one lap. Now, speaking of making a big difference, the difference between first and second has gone down about a second as Garrett Kinder has started to reel in that 95 machine. So whatever the 95 learned from that last run apparently is not going to be good enough at the moment unless he just knows something I don't know, because Garrett Kinder is slowly reeling him in about a 10th and a half a lap. So Garrett Kinder's doing a fantastic job of saving tires. Is it going to be good enough? I don't know, because the man behind him was right there to take over the top spot right before this pit road opened up. But man, Garrett Kinder is coming as he crossed the line. He was 10th and a half last time. He gained a ton that last lap, 3 tenths faster that lap. So Garrett Kinder, Ray Rogers on the way.
Yeah, I'd say here within, probably 4 or 5 laps, we're going to have a battle for the lead. So, we're getting down to crunch time now, so we're going to see, if these playoff guys can, punch their way in, or if they're going to let Ray Rogers steal another one from them.
Yeah, and these drivers, they're both pretty much locked in, especially if they finish where they, or leave with a decent finish in the top 3. But dadgummit, if it doesn't just bother you for the same guy to win every week. So while they don't necessarily need to beat Ray Rogers, I mean, that's why we show up and race, Dakota. I can show up I want to win that dang race. I don't care what's at stake. And so Ray Rogers coming out here whooping our tails, and we're the playoff drivers. That kind of feels bad, don't it?
Yeah, it's kind of probably what the Cup guys felt like when they let Shane Van Gisbergen come in and steal one from them in Chicago. They're thinking, this is our series. Let us win. You stay back there.
Yeah, telling Ray Rogers stay back there. That's a tough order right now. It is going to continue to be that way. Now we start the play-in. Now we always say that Ray Rogers likes to play with his food, and I think that's what's going to start happening right here. Is he's going to get right on the back bumper of that 13. Now with the tire starting to wear that truck, get a little bit tighter. Having somebody take the air off your rear spoiler probably nice. Kind of loosen that truck up a little bit, but man, they are really putting a dent in this league for Chris Bedwell, and now down to about 3.5 tenths. So they're there, and there's still a ton of time, a little over 30 laps to go. But here they are, caught up now to the back end of that 95. Now they've caught them. Now they got to pass them. That's going to be the big question mark that I have is how do you make this pass? What do you do? How do you set this up and get this done? They've definitely been faster, but it's easy to do that when you have the whole track to work with. Now what do you do if the truck is in your lane that you're trying to run like Garrett Kinder is on that top side? Well, you got to go down the bottom. Well, if you go down the bottom and you need to use the whole track, well, you can't no more. So how do you make that pass, and what do you do to get that done? That's the question. And we'll see who's able to do it. Is it going to be Garrett Kinder or going to be Ray Rod? Oh, it's the 95. I guess they got to pit twice there, Dakota. I guess that's a question that I have and a question that I now have answered. is Bedwell going to come down pit road again, the first one, and get that 4 tires in fuel. And this will be his last set of tires, so if we get a late race caution, won't have it. But another round of pit stops. What do you say there, Dakota?
Yeah, you know, the last round of pit stops, like you said, Bedwell was the first one on and off pit road, and it paid pretty big dividends for him. So, you know, if he can get out to another, I think the lead was about 2.5 seconds. You know, if he can get back out to a lead like that, I think it might be pretty smooth sailing for him. You know, unless we get that late race caution to really ramp things up here.
Yeah. Well, everybody not wasting much time. Ray Rogers, James Kunkel, Daniel Holcroft, the only Matt Rogers staying out on the track. Everybody else starting to come down pit road now. Garrett Kinder didn't waste any time, but you know, Bedwell doing what he's got to do. I gotta give it to him, man. Even though it seems like the end of these runs he's struggling, I thought they were good on pit stops. I didn't know they needed to make another stop, and dadgummit if I'm not wrong. And right now, Chris Bedwell. Oh, and he hits the wall.
Oh,
big pancake for the 95, and that is not what you want to do. I was about to brag on him about how he's playing it perfectly because he's pitting right as they're passing him, but that was a big hit, Dakota.
yeah. Hopefully it didn't crinkle up nothing too bad to where it's not going to take any arrow off of him. So, you know, looking at the side of it there, you know, it doesn't look too awful bad, so he might be in good shape. The iRacing gods might have spared him right there.
Man, that was a massive hit. My goodness. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was light enough, and you know, maybe it won't be too big a deal, but yeah, I mean, good Lord, you definitely do not want to do that. As we'll go on board with him and show you what happened on the Kinder Farmer Ranch Wreckage Rewind. Wasn't a wreck, but leader having some trouble here. You'll see going down the front stretch here, and just going to go get ready to enter in. And enough to kind of throw that truck around. I mean, that was a pretty big hit. I mean, enough that we both went, oh!
Yeah, it looks like he just kind of he misjudged his entry right there. You know, it don't look like the truck just took off. I think he was just trying to really set up his entry into one, and it bit him right there.
Well, we'll know for too long if that damage is bad enough. Matt Rogers going to stay out and get a lap led. Try to catch a caution. Try to run this as long as possible. You know, a couple of these guys, you know, this will be the tail right now. I mean, if we can run a few laps, I don't know. It seems like everybody's pitting right after the lap 30 mark. So I don't see anybody able to run much longer than that. But, I mean, without a caution, you really can't save a set of tires. So it looks like everybody will just have to come down and take their last set. So won't be seeing any kind of weird pit strategy, I don't think. But Matt Rogers going to come down pit road, and that's going to give that lead back over to Chris Bedwell. Now, however, the lead is not 2.2 seconds. This time, it is now 1.0 seconds. So Garrett Kinder did a fantastic job of coming right down pit road right after, and able to do a pretty dang good job of keeping that 95 a little bit closer this time. Now, we've seen it every time that Garrett Kinder able to run him down. Now, this time, Ray Rogers is back a little bit further, about 2.1 seconds. But is that going to be a big deal, or is that one lap pressure tire going to pay off for Ray? We'll find out as we're coming into almost about 20 laps to go here.
Like Bedwell's got his hands full with Evernham trying to stay on the lead lap here, so that's gonna hurt Bedwell. You know, trying to mind the lap car in front of him, you know, as well as trying to maintain that gap back to Garrett Kinder.
Yeah, and then based on lap times, it doesn't seem like that damage is hurting him too bad, Dakota. I mean, he's running right in the same ballpark of Ray Rogers and Garrett Kinder. So I think you're right. I think the iRacing gods, man, just I mean, if I go up and just sniff the wall, my motor just falls out, you know. But he went up there and, I mean, pancaked it good, but that truck seems to be running pretty strong still. So 20 laps to go. Does Garrett Kinder have enough time? Is Ray Rogers going to be able to make his way up there and battle for the lead? We've seen them all come together at various points of this race, and now we're coming down to the final leg of this horse race, and we'll see if Garrett Kinder can do what he's been doing and run down this 95. It's taken him a few laps to get there, so we maybe, you know, if he can get a sniff of that draft, which he's pretty dang close right at a second, he might can start to close a little bit quicker. But you know, the last two runs, it's been, you know, if it continues the same, we're looking at Garrett, you know, sort of getting to him around that 115 mark. And I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get around him if he gets there at that time. Yeah,
and in watching Bedwell run, you know, what I have, you know, he's extremely hard to pass. You know, he's kind of like Ryan Newman. You know, how do you get around this guy? You know, he's hard nosed. He'll race you hard, and you know, you're gonna have to really, you know, pull something out of your bag of tricks to get by him.
Yeah, and you know, all leagues are different. You've got some leagues that don't, that kind of almost encourage, you know, hey, go up there and give them the bumper. You know, that's fun. That's part of racing. And then you got some leagues that you know, just don't do that. This is one of those that kind of focuses on clean racing, and you know, so I don't expect a bumper. You know, usually when someone does that, it's kind of looked down upon, not really celebrated here. So I wouldn't expect the 13 to go in there and just move him out of the way. But you know what? Playoffs make guys do and act differently, Dakota. You never know how important a win is to somebody. And if I want to win, if I want to keep another guy from winning, you know, go up there, especially running up the top line, go up there, get as close as you can, give him a little shove, push him up in the wall, and then drive on by on the bottom. That's a pretty good little move. But I think Garrett's got the time. It's just, how is he going to do it? Just that bottom side is just so tough. I don't know how you're going to do it clean, unless Bedwell makes a mistake, which is definitely possible. Well, speaking of mistakes, I mean, you see Tracy Passons, who is locked into the next round, so he doesn't have to worry. But never really recovered from that 17th position. Same with Chuck. I mean, just disappointing after that first incident. Was able to get a lap back on the stage, but just hasn't been able to get back in this thing. He runs in 16th. Alan Smith still 5 laps down in 18th. Stephen Ayers Jr. in 15th, and probably the most disappointed is going to be Chris McLean, who's up here battling, running up front, and some sort of mysterious issue that would think maybe didn't check fuel, because he had to come back down pit road for about 12 seconds, which makes you think he had to fill up with fuel and no tires. So big disappointment there for the 5 machines. He may be in trouble here. Oh, and Bedwell's in the wall. He makes that mistake. He comes down off the wall, but Garrett Kinder is already there, so Garrett Kinder is going to take the top spot as Bedwell gets up into the wall, and it grabs him, and he is going to lose the top spot. So Garrett Kinder didn't even have to think about how he's going to make that pass. Bedwell just helped him do it. So the 13 Garrett Kinder going to take over the top spot with 12 laps to go. Now Bedwell desperate to try to get that position back. But Garrett Kinder has been running him down. So now Garrett Kinder just needs to focus on not making a mistake because he's in the best position being out front.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think the iRacing gods, they give him at first, and I think that hit might have given him a little bit of something there. So, you know, we'll see if he can, you know, at least stay with Garrett here and maybe set him up and get it done. But I think Garrett's just so smooth. Once he gets out front, I think it might be a wrap. You know, unless we get this late caution.
Yeah, the iRacing Lord giveth, and the iRacing Lord taketh away, and that's exactly what happened. Flirting with that wall, you talked about it, Dakota. You know, that wall is a lot of speed up there to be had. Just doesn't take much. And these guys got to be careful. Bedwell's doing a great job of hanging on, but Ray Rogers is on his way. So I know that 13 would love to get gone, but I don't know. That kind of maybe lit a fire under that 95 as he's able to stay in that draft and stay right on the back bumper of that 13 machine. Not letting him get away. Going to drive deep into the corners. He's just not able to get the front end grip that he needs. Has to put on the brakes pretty hard. Can he do anything with this 13 machine, or is it too late?
I think we're gonna have to pull Bedwell's truck into post race tech, because I circled around his truck area in the sim. I've got it pulled up, and we know that thing it's still straight on the right side, so it's definitely been beefed up on that right side. So I think we'll have to tear into that thing. Yeah.
No doubt. I played a little Jaws thing. Because look at Ray Rogers right to the back bumper of Chris Bedwell. Gonna look down to the inside, and boy, he looks fast. And Bedwell has to check up a little bit. And the 51 down to the inside. The 95 gonna fight back, but not gonna be able to do it. Gonna cross him up, but Ray Rogers has the position. See what Bedwell does here if he tries to go down. No, he's gonna push Ray Rogers into the corner. So now Ray up to the second position, now looking to take the lead from the 13 machine. The biggest mover of the race, Ray Rogers. He is currently Kyle Roberts' handmade leather. Biggest mover of the race. But does he have enough to pass 13? I tell you. Ray's been fast, but on these long runs, Garrett Kinder has been pretty stout. So I think Ray has got his toughest task in front of him. But if you're Garrett, you know, Dakota, you want to win this race at all costs, but you know, what are you willing to gamble for? Are you willing to go all in and say I'm willing to lose, you know, third, maybe fourth, to try to fight off Ray Rogers, or do you let him go and let him win that race? What do you do?
And any time I could beat Ray Rogers in the race, you know, I'm gonna do everything I can to stay out in front of him, because, you know, like he said, you don't want to see the same guy win over and over. And, you know, anytime you can keep Ray behind you, you know, you've done something.
And you can't even wreck it. Like, you would feel so bad if you wreck Ray Rogers. Like, you can't even go up there and say, I'm gonna turn this guy. Hey, nobody's gonna do that because he's just too nice of a guy. So it just, damn him for not being more hate. You know, not, you know, someone you could dislike even a little bit. So you could even justify. You know how some guys, Dakota, you can justify it in your head. Well, I could just hit him because, you know, he's a butthole, or, you know, he did this to me one time. You can kind of justify it like that, but you can't with Ray.
Yeah, the only way I could justify it, you know, he's running that Kyle Busch Toyota scheme. You know, nobody likes Toyota Kyle Busch. Maybe if it was the Chevrolet Kyle Busch, you know, I'd let it slide. But, you know, Toyota Kyle Busch, you know, you're going around, bud.
There you go. See, racers can find any kind of justification they need to put the bumper in. Oh my goodness, the 13 is going to get in the wall as Ray gets really close to his back bumper, and that opens the door as Ray does give him a little shot. I don't think it was on purpose, but 13 does a great job of keeping it from getting stuck to the wall, and that allows Bedwell to get down to the inside and do a slider. So move Ray Rogers up to the lead.
And that seems to be a common thing when you got Ray in second. You know, he's chewing on the bumper of the guy in front of him, and they just, I don't know if they're watching the rearview mirror more, but they make one mistake, and you know, Ray, he's there to capitalize on it, and you know, he wins, you know, 9 times out of 10.
Well, 3 laps to go. A little bit of resurgence here from Chris Bedwell trying to hunt down Ray Rogers as we come to take 2 to go here in the Apex E-Series Showdown here at Kansas Speedway on BSRN. I'm Eddie, and this is Dakota in the booth. Thank y'all so much for watching. We're going to give you all the action here as they are right up against the rim. Does Bedwell have anything left in the tank, or is Ray snookered them again to take 4 out of the last 5 races here in Apex? Makes you wonder, man, if Ray, I think, ran Road to Pro here early in this season, I think. And it makes you wonder what would happen if he had been able to make the minimum races. Right now, we'd be talking about him as a championship favorite. But white flag here. Not a championship favorite, but definitely going to be a race-winning favorite. Is he going to come down in 3 and 4? I don't think Bedwell's got anything for him. There's no way he's going to make that work. Bedwell going to try and do all he can, get up into the wall. It's going to maybe open the door for Garrett Kinder, but Ray Rogers going to cross the line side by side for second. Garrett Kinder is able to take that second spot after that Hail Mary there from Chris Bedwell. But Ray Rogers, your winner here, started in 16th, 15th, 16th and finished first. And he is your Kyle Roberts hard charger. And your race winner. Man, what a greedy guy. Garrett Kinder goes up there, gives him a little love tap after the end of the race. And Ray Rogers is going to burn it down on the front stretch. What a great drive by him with a pass with about 4 or 5 laps to go on Garrett Kinder as Garrett gets into the wall just a tad bit, able to take that top spot and sails off into the distance. Well, pretty good there. Pretty good race there, Dakota.
Yeah, that was you couldn't ask for a better race than that. That was action from the drop of the green.
Yeah, for sure. We'll actually go back and watch that that pass for the lead as Ray Rogers must be done burning him down or blew the motor one. But let's go back and check the replay and watch exactly how this pass happened. It was I thought maybe there was a little bit of contact, but no, it was just Ray Rogers putting the pressure on him. Goes down the corner, and Garrett's going to get a little bit too high, make a little bit of contact. Ray can see it coming, drives down to the bottom, gives himself plenty of room along with Garrett, and that's all that he needs to take that position. So that's how we got it done. And looks like a little bit of love tap from Matt Rogers, who came home in the 10th position. So that was a good finish for him. But let's get ready for some interviews right after we do the results here. Maybe. There we go. All right. Well, let's see where everybody finished here tonight. Ray Rogers, Garrett Kinder, and Chris Bedwell is your top 3. Charles Stevens comes home in the 4th position. Kip Easley in 5th. Alan Nash, quietly, we didn't talk too much about him tonight, but in the 6th position. Daniel Holcroft in 7th. Lots of good point stays for those guys. I think they'll be in good shape. Daniel Holcroft doing what he needs to do. Dana Shepard in 8th. That should be good enough for him. But we'll see. We won't have any kind of official word until right after the race. We'll try to waste as much time as possible, and that way we can, once the official points are posted, we'll get that for you as soon as it hits the wire. James Kunkel comes home in 9th position with Matt Rogers coming home in 10th. 11th.
And looks like
Go ahead.
looks like you got Willie Abraham finishing P11, followed by Edrington in 12th. Presley finishes the race in 13th, and Chris McLean after starting on the pole, that's got to be a kick in the gut for him to finish P14. Stephen Ayers Jr. finishes 15th, and then the bad luck of Chuck Phelps, Tracy Passons, and Alan Smith round out your field.
Yeah, we have to give out probably the worst award that I hate to give out, and that's the Trigger Time Indoor Shooting Range Jammed Up Award. It's really hard for me to pick because Alan Smith with the connection issues, a playoff hopeful going into the round of 8. But after those connection issues really put him out of this thing, and just no chance to catch back up. Chuck Phelps, after that lap 1 wreck, having some issues, just not able to get back on the lead lap and finished 2 laps down. So, it's really hard for me to say who is going to be the hard luck, because Chris McLean didn't check his fuel. We guess, we don't know that for sure, but that's what we think happened. And so, I think all 3 of them could really be the co-winners for this award tonight, because all of them equally needed a good finish and all of them equally had some really unlucky bad things that happened to them. So, just tough for all 3 of those drivers that will likely end their playoff run. But let's go ahead and get into the post-race show presented by Poman Motorsports. Let's go ahead and try to talk to some of these drivers. We always start with the 3rd place, and that's what we're going to do tonight. We'll start with Bedwell in just a moment. We can grab him up in here and see what he thought about this race, if I can find him. There he is. Chris, this is Eddie and Dakota in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, a pretty solid race. Maybe you're hoping to get that win, but I mean, not a terrible day. Come home in 3rd place. I mean, you were there in 2nd, made a dive to the end of this thing to try to get the win. Talk a little bit about your race. You kind of seemed to fire off pretty good. It seemed like your strategy was to to go to 30 laps and pit, and it seemed like you nailed it perfectly. We were kind of, honestly, a little critical of you because you were, they were able to run you down the long runs, but knowing what we know about the pit stops now, it seemed like you planned it perfectly. But what happened on that last run that just allowed Garrett to get a little bit too close and pass you a little bit before maybe you were ready for him?
I'm not sure. I think he had a better pit stop, that last pit stop, than he did the first pit stop. I think I beat them both pretty well. They only pit like 1 lap after me, and Ray pit a couple laps after Garrett and I pit. So, 1 lap is what it is. I think they figured out something with the line, because I had a pretty big lead and I couldn't see him very well in my mirror to see what line they were running. So my strategy was just to run the top as fast as I could, or get up there as quick as I could. But every time I saw them in the mirror, they were running top 1 and 2, bottom 3 and 4. So I did make it a point to try and run that line in that last stretch of green flag after that last pit stop, just so I could be ready for it when it was coming. And I just think it really messed me up because I wasn't used to running it all night, and I didn't practice it in practice. So, a lot of stuff went against me. But pit stops were finally, I think I was the best in the pits, but is what it is. I had to throw one last Hail Mary there at Ray and see what happened. I didn't want to run up into him and use him up. So I let off and didn't let off in time and hit the wall and then lost second. So, but I've pointed my way into a Final Four before. I don't need to win every race to go in the next round. So as long as it's a good finish, it should get me into the next round. So it shouldn't be no worries there. and just wait and see what the next round looks like.
Well, how nervous were you when you pancaked the wall going into turn one? We saw it on the broadcast, and it was a pretty hard hit from our point of view, but it didn't seem to really affect your truck at all. How nervous were you whenever you smacked the wall there?
The damage model on iRacing has gotten better for these trucks, so it didn't really affect the truck too much. It definitely hitting the wall, definitely you lose a lot of time. And yeah, I mean, I was a lap car had got out in front of me and sort of took my air, and it was just like the truck just jumped out, or lost the nose and ran up into the wall. But it is what it is. And Garrett did the same thing. I think it was in 1 and 2 also, and I was able to get back around him, but Ray had already gotten around both of us. So typical Ray fashion, passes everybody at the end when he comes from the back. But I know he likes doing that because he has a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, I don't know what I could have done different, really. Maybe pit a couple laps later, but then maybe they would have had that short pit on me, and then I don't know. I think they were definitely better on the long runs than I was.
Well, I mean, either way, you drove a really good race. You still had a chance there on that last lap. Did a little Hail Mary, gave up second for third, but nonetheless, still got an interview. That's what counts in my book. But congratulations, man, on a fantastic race. You looking strong for the rest of the playoffs. Got a championship form. And that's dangerous for everybody. So, man, congratulations as always, man. Who you got to thank? Any sponsor shout-outs?
Thank you for the broadcast. Thank Dakota for being your sidekick tonight. And Aaron for running the league. Apex for sponsoring it. Every driver in the league for showing up every week. I know playoffs, it sort of thins out. The guys on my team, Dana and Tony, for racing tonight. Yeah, just everybody. Thanks a lot.
Well, there you have it. Your third place finisher, Chris Bedwell. And Dakota, do you mind if I take second and you take Ray Rogers? That work for you?
Yeah, go for it, big dog.
All right. Well, I'm going to pull in our second place finisher, Garrett Kinder, in the Kinder Farm and Ranch Ford F-150. Garrett, this is Eddie and Dakota in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you, boys.
Man, Kansas Speedway, running the top line, running that wall, and man, what a great night for you up front most of the race. Seemed like you knew early on you needed to save some tire, and you did that, and both times you were able to be really, really strong on the long runs. Talk a little bit about that. Was that intentional, and how effective do you think that was, and did you think that was the right strategy, especially going towards the end of those last couple pit stops?
Yeah, I knew tire save was going to be huge. I don't know if they changed the tire model or what, but it seemed like Kansas, it eats tires usually, but it seemed like it was a little bit extra even today. So I knew that tire save was going to be pretty big. A lot of these guys migrate up to the high line real quick, and I won Kansas earlier in the season. I was hoping to go back to back on it, but I won it by running low line for about half the run, and then running high 1-2, low 3-4, and for another 10 laps. And then just ripping the wall around. So, but basically stuck with that strategy. It worked last time, and it would have worked this time. Just made a little bit of a mistake. Had to do a little bit of fuel saving in the last 15 laps, or I was gonna end up running out. But man, it was a fun race. You get up there with Bedwell, get up there with Ray, and man, you're gonna have a good time. Some clean racing, hard racing, and you really gotta just execute perfectly. And I slipped up a little bit. So it is what it is. Yeah, tire strategy was definitely playing in. I knew I could bleed a couple spots and basically get them back through 3. I love 3 and 4, probably my favorite turns in the NASCAR circuit. 3 and 4 Kansas, it works on the low side for me. I don't know if I do it different or what, but I knew I could make spots back up through 3 and 4. So yeah, just a little tire strategy, just came up one spot short.
Yeah, talk about that move that when you got into the wall with Ray Rogers right behind you. Was it just mirror driving? Did you just drive in just a little bit too deep? What happened that made you get in the wall there?
Man, I was actually in fuel saver mode there, and I guess if you go into the turn at a lower speed or at a lower throttle level, it gets a little tight, and I didn't know that. I guess it was I guess the right rear was stepping out when you were going in a little bit harder. So whenever I dove in there, running 70% throttle, and it just didn't turn. So I guess it was a little bit of a mental error on my spot. Not really mirror driving. I just told Ray earlier, I don't worry about when Ray's behind me. I know he's not going to stick it somewhere he shouldn't. He's not going to make a big last ditch effort and try and win the race by wrecking somebody. So I know I wasn't really worried about Ray. I knew he was behind me, and I knew he was on my bumper, which is status quo for the entire freaking season, it seems like. But he always seems to get around me. Damn it, Eddie.
Well, hey, still a fantastic race. Bedwell tries a little Hail Mary there, able to get that second position. So you should retain the points lead without much issue. So, I mean, you may not win the race, but you continue on with that points lead, and you obviously move on to the next round. So congratulations, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, just a fun race to watch you to run. Always good to see you race. Don't get to see you race that much, man. So it's good to see you out there on the track. And maybe we'll get together and fly some planes one of these days again. So congratulations, man, on second place. Maybe give us a little bit of that who you got to thank sponsor shout-outs.
Are you sure you don't want to read through it for me? I'm pretty sure you got it memorized by now.
Well, you say it much better than I do.
All right. We'll do Kinder Farm and Ranch and Ratchet Speed Shop. Been on board since day one. So big shout out to both of them. They've already been texting me after the race saying how much fun it was to watch. So I guess I got to thank y'all up in the booth for that as well. Thank y'all for putting out a good product over here at V Speed Racing Network, I believe is what the new name is over here. So big shout out to y'all. Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers. If you want to keep your stuff hot and keep your stuff cold for cheaper and longer than anybody else, check out Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers at bigfrig.com. Quick sidebar here, away from the normal. I want to give a shout out to my sister-in-law and my niece. They've both had birthdays in the past few days. So big shout out to both of them. Happy birthday to both of them. Ray Page over at Wolfpack Racing, all my teammates over here at Poman, short tracking in. Got to thank the Velocity guys. Aaron ain't here, but thank him for keeping the lights on over here. All the sponsors keep the league going.
Well, there you have it. Garrett Kinder moves on as the points leader and takes home second place here tonight. And I think Dakota, Ray has been patiently waiting. I think he's caught up with him.
Ray Rogers, this is Dakota and Eddie the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think Eddie's getting tired of interviewing you. He's giving me the winning interview here. So, I mean, there ain't much to say. You can win from the front, you win from the back. I think next week we're gonna send you to a different track, see if you can win from there. kind of talk us through your night, and you always seem to make your way up. So just kind of go through your mindset of what you was thinking starting in the back.
Well, it's just going to start in the back. Just ride, let those guys, battle it out, and if an opportunity came, I'd go around them. And that's kind of what happened throughout the race. I would ride and, they would make little mistakes that I would capitalize on. And just throughout the race, I just watched all those guys pit one lap. I didn't know fuel would be an issue towards the end right there. I had no clue. I just went one extra lap, than what them guys did. And, it just worked out there towards the end where I didn't think I was going to catch Garrett because he was moving, and I was like, well, I'm just going to ride right here and watch them two battle it out. And then I seen Bedwell hit the wall. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, but he managed to stay with it. But when I caught him, I just went around him, so I didn't know what was going on with him. I really wasn't going to go around him. I was actually going to let them battle it out. But he hit the wall, and I went around him, and then I didn't realize Garrett was going to hit the wall too. So it just gave me opportunities to get around them, after their little mistakes there. And I was just able to bring it home again.
Yeah, for sure. You only led 6 laps tonight, but you led the most important one. So, I think Eddie said that was 4 out of the last 5 that you've won. And I think it's a good thing that you're not a playoff driver, because if I was these other boys, I'd be worried if you had that purple banner.
Right. I love these trucks. I mean, I was just, I love the series. They're a lot of fun to race with, and it's just fun to get up there. Like I said, I wasn't going to battle with the playoff guys because I know they're coming down the crunch time, but I seen Kunkel up there. I was like, he's not in the playoff. I'm going to go up there and have some fun. So it's kind of how it all happened, and a couple of little mistakes from them, and I was just able to capitalize.
Well, nonetheless, that was a it was awesome to watch you come from the back. You know, you make it exciting no matter where you start, and you got anybody that you want to thank?
It's as always, guys. You know, Garrett Kinder. I know he sponsors this. You know, Apex, the main sponsor of the league. I know there's many more. You know, Peg Leg. Uh, I know there's several more, but I can't remember. But I thank all of them for sponsoring this league. You know, Aaron for putting it on, and you guys for obviously broadcasting. I guess you got a new name, V Speed or something. That's quite cool. But I appreciate all you guys for what you guys do to make this fun to watch.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you joining in too.
I appreciate it, you guys.
Well, there you have it. That's your winner, Ray Rogers, and that's going to call it here tonight. Man, just a fun race at you know, kind of par for the course when it comes to Kansas. So, yeah, just a dang good race. And congratulations again to Ray Rogers for that win. Now I do have breaking news. Top 8 has been officially announced, and here is your top 8. I'm not going to show it on the screen because I'm not that fancy, but I'm going to read it off to you for dramatic effect. And we'll start with the top 8. From the top to the bottom, Tracy Passons with that win, of course, locks himself in, so we know he is into the top 8. So congratulations to Tracy Passons. No surprise by the next two, Garrett Kinder and Chris Bedwell, going to take the second and third positions in the top 8, and now the bubble positions and the Kip Easley pretty much was going to be locked in. He was pretty dang close to the top. Kip Easley is going to be that 4th position. In the 5th position is going to be Charles Stevens Jr. with that finish tonight in the 4th position. Alan Nash, who finished in the 6th position. Now, the final 2 spots, and we will announce them right after this break. No, I'm just kidding. Daniel Holcroft takes home the 7th position after a 7th position finish tonight. And then birthday boy himself, Dana Shepard, will continue playoff racing with a fantastic run that he had tonight, up in 2nd position at one point. So Dana Shepard will move on to the round of 8 and continue his fight for a championship. So happy birthday, Dana. And we definitely are excited for that. So, anyway, dang, we had a good race. That was a lot of fun. We are want to thank our sponsors, of course, ApexSimRacing.com. Jimmy over at Apex Sim Racing Gear. Go check their stuff out as always. I say the same thing. Go buy a switch. You know, you light switches in your house are boring. They're just white plates with little flick switches. Go get a toggle switch. Go get something. Go get a rocker switch. Something. Put some shifter knobs on your refrigerator. I don't know. Go do something. Go buy from Jimmy. Support him for supporting us. Put some button stickers. Take your remote buttons off and put sim racing stickers on top of your remote for your TV. Something like that. Do something. But I want to thank him and Apex and all the other sponsors who sponsor the series. I'm Eddie for V-Speed. Dakota, final thoughts?
You know, that was about as electric as you could expect, you know, being a playoff cutoff race. And, you know, I think they're off next week, and then we head to Bristol. So, yeah, I'm going to be here for Bristol because, you know, that's the last great Coliseum. So, you're just going to see them, you know, they get a freaking sword for winning that race. So, we're going to see the Gladiators come out to play in 2 weeks.
No doubt about that. Well, thank y'all for watching, everybody that was active in chat. Want to appreciate y'all. Thank you, Dakota, for coming in and adding some much-needed perspective and commentary that you provide. So thank you for that. Want to thank Bradley Cooper. Want to thank Adam Baker over at V-Speed for what they do and what they provide here for us. And also want to say, go check out V-Speed too. I'll be there tomorrow night as we are calling the Champions Motorsports Friday Night Truck Series, going to get that back underway at Mid-Ohio. So come check us out. Me and Alec Martinez will be in there giving you all the action and all the fun. So come check it out. But y'all have a good night. We'll see you then.